The United States Census Bureau is doing things a little differently in 2020, and it may lead to new challenges. Issie Lapowsky writes in Wired, quote, "For the first time ever, the Bureau is asking the majority of people to answer the census online." Not only that, but behind the scenes, the entire process of running the census is getting a high-tech facelift. And Issie Lapowsky is here. She's a senior writer for Wired and a CBS News contributor. Issie, great to have you here in person. So the Census Bureau is getting a digital facelift. How exactly is this going to work?
So obviously the most apparent thing to most of us will be that for the first time in more than 200 years, we will be able to answer the census online. Forever, it's been, since the 1700s, it's been pen and paper, pencil and paper. So that's what you and I are going to see. On the back end, if you are a census worker, they're rolling out a whole bunch of technology tools that are going to make their jobs a lot easier. So the census kind of is broken up into three parts. So first you have to come up with an address list for the entire country. That has always involved sending hundreds of thousands of people into the streets to actually check addresses door by door. Now they have a tool that is going to use satellite imagery to compare the housing stock, right? So you'll be able to see, did a new apartment complex go up? And if so, can we check maybe with the post office? Do they have that data? It's only for the houses that they're not going to be able to check in records that they're going to send people out on the street. So that's going to make them a lot more efficient. And then there are also new tools that are going to be used by the field staffers who go and knock on your door if you haven't answered the census. And in the past, that's been a paper and pen job, right? I think in the last census, they printed out something like 50 million questionnaires, 17 million paper maps. So now they're going to have an app. The app is going to have navigation abilities, so hopefully people won't get as lost. Yeah. They're going to enter all the data in there. It's going to automatically be encrypted and sent to the Census Bureau. And their hope is that it's going to make people a lot more efficient.
Well, you say this new approach could open up the Census Bureau to some risks. So what are those?
So there are a few risks here. First of all, whenever you roll out a new piece of technology, it can fail, right? We can just crash the system. We saw what happened with healthcare.gov, and that was just a few thousand people. We're talking about millions and millions of people in a very short window of time having to go on and fill out their census online. Now, the Census Bureau will offer also a telephone option, and for some people with limited connectivity, they'll still get the paper form, but there's always that risk. And then, of course, there's the risk of an attack on the Census Bureau's systems, on government systems. Australia tried an online census, and they were hit by a pretty serious attack that ended up costing them over $20 million. Wow. And then there's the risk of having our devices used for this kind of thing. Our devices aren't as secure as government devices. They have malware. People don't get their upgrades in time. Right. And so if we have any corrupted devices, there's always the risk that, you know, it could be, our data could be manipulated before it reaches the Census Bureau, which is going to do everything within its power to secure it.
What about cost here? The 2010 census was the most expensive in history. Will this change make the census cheaper?
That's the goal, right? So this all started under the Obama administration as a way to say, how can we cut costs? The cost of the census is ballooning even more so than the ballooning population of the United States. And so they wanted to use this as a way to cut costs. Obviously, up front, there's a lot of cost that goes into it. That's a concern, but they hope that over time, by creating these tools and these systems, that it will cut costs eventually.
All right, we'll see if they can get the bugs worked out by 2020. We'll see.
We hope so.
Issie Lapowsky, thanks so much, Issie. Great to see you.